want you to listen to what Anand Hidadas had to say here, because I think he's on to something.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. Anyway, folks, we are going to talk a whole lot about MAGA problems as well as who we are. But anyway, before we get started, let's go ahead and introduce our current panel. Welcome aboard. First one in the house, AVQ, known as El Señor Radnin from Brooklyn, New York. We have Patrick Magner, meow, in the house from Houston, Texas. We also have in the house, I'm scrolling down, Eric Hayes. Eric Hayes is in from Atascocita, Kingwood. And of course, we have Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Come on, folks, check yourself in, those of you in the chat. Anyway, from Michael Radnin, he said, Berto, one for the screen. Let's see what's out there for the screen. Looking for it, and here we go for the screen. El Señor Radnin wants this on the screen, and it says as follows. Wordplay about Nazis isn't funny, it isn't clever, and it's dangerous. This is from Ted Deutsch, CEO of American Jewish Committee. It says, Elon Musk, however you feel about the accusation being made against you, this is absolutely the wrong response. Nazi-themed jokes are offensive and harmful. Don't belittle the seriousness of the Holocaust. You give cover to those who seek to do the same. And what was it that Elon said? He said the following. Elon Musk wrote the following. Remember that Heil Hitler salute that he gave? He said, don't say Hess to Nazi accusations. Some people will Goebbels anything down. Stop goring your enemies. And those are names of famous Nazis that he used to make the jokes of. But let me tell you how you know how corrupt our system is. The head of the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, after Elon Musk did the Nazi salute, he came out vociferously on Twitter and elsewhere to defend Trump about being awkward and not meaning what he said, even though Elon Musk has a white nationalist type history, even though we know he has an anti-Semitic slant. If you listen to what he has to say, if you listen to what he has to say about people of color, about other folks, I mean, if you listen to Trump, to Elon Musk, you understand that's who he is. You have to wonder why the ADL would come out and support him. Well, you know why. Money talks, and all this fake nationalism. It's all a sham. And for that sham, look how many Palestinians had to die. For that sham, anybody who goes, well, let's not even go there. Anyway, folks, what else have we got here from? Let's see. Michael says, Times of Israel. Elon Musk makes Holocaust jokes after Netanyahu defends him as great friend of Israeli. We already know what Elon Musk is. This is just adding to the pile. But again, that you would have Netanyahu and the ADL come in support of Elon Musk, it shows you that these guys cared nothing about Jews. These guys cared nothing about the Holocaust. These guys care nothing about what's happened. They just care about the mighty dollar, and that is just a cog. The Jewish, Israeli, Palestinian issue is just a cog for them to make money. They don't give a damn. All right. Michael Rudnin says, Reuters, U.S. judge temporarily blocks Trump's order restricting birthright citizenship. Judge John Cogs Hinor, a Reagan appointee, said, I've been on the bench for over 4 decades. I can't remember another case where the question presented is clear as this one. This is a blatantly unconstitutional order. Judge John Koff Hire continued, I am having trouble understanding how a member of the bar could state unequivocally that this order is constitutional. It just boggles my mind. This temporary restraining order went into effect immediately. The judge did not wait for appellate review, as this is clear black letter law. I mean, actually, the guy should be disbarred. I mean, you can say, well, Trump isn't a lawyer, and we also know that Trump is a dummy. We know that, we know that, we know that. But madre mia, por favor, why would you allow that to come into court? All right, Bridge MCP is in the house from Binghamton, New York. Welcome aboard our beautiful Bridge. Thank you for being here. Michael also says, Eric, a win for progressives would be the scuttling of every coal-fired power plant. Exactly. Coal is the primary cause of global warming and is responsible for a disproportionate amount of pollution. Si, senor. Absolutely. So let's see what else we got here. Lee, the Bearcat, say, yo, all, this is a declassified day. Sounds like they recorded MLK for years and JFK had all kinds of womanizing with young ones. But that's not something we don't know. We always knew that Brother Kennedy was a ladies' man. We also knew that MLK had a few little trysts himself. So did Trump. So did all of them, right? So we don't know why some people had to pay a bigger price than others. I don't know. All right, Maywood says, I'm temporarily forced outside. They're doing an inspection of the house, so virtually no internet. So I'm not currently getting the audio video feed, but at least I see the chat. Brother, we love you anyway. You keep chatting away. Lee the Bearcat says, do you think the progressive movement is focused on some of the same old stuff and might think to move to the middle in order to win the future? Again, the future is not in the middle. The oligarchs would want you to believe that the future is in the middle. But when we ask Americans the things that they want, when we ask Americans what they want, what they say they want are the things progressives stand for. The problem is we are controlled by the middle. And we don't get to vociferously go out there and tell Americans what we will do for them. If we told Americans, like, that social security that you need for your mother and father that you're taking care of, you will get it. If we go out and say you will have free tuition for college, if you go out and you say, you know what, folks, we can afford this. If you go out and present the case to them, but the center of the party won't allow us to go ahead and say that. They won't allow us to go out and point that we can recover all the monies that we need to recover from what the parasites have stolen from us to pay for childcare, to pay for daycare, to pay for these things that civilized society, that humane societies pay for. Americans say that they want these things. So my dear brother, Mr. Bearcat, progressives don't need to move to a false middle because that is not where Americans are. Americans are for doing things that support humanity. What the problem is that we have the oligarchs controlling, or media controlling, the space that make folks believe this is unattainable, and that if we do the things that progressives are supporting, that say that they want, that we will bust a budget that is not really bustable given the amount of parasites we have in the wealthy class having it. Yvette Avery Herod, welcome to Politics Done Right, sister. Great to see you here. Missed you yesterday. Michael Rodney says, Lee the Bearcat, I wonder what we learn. Meantime, don't listen to the conspiracy narrators that would spin nonsense before disclosure of evidence. Musk is engaging in free speech. If you want, try free speech. It has a no. Yeah, Musk can say whatever he wants. Just don't try to sell yourself as anything other than an anti-Semite or whatever it is that you are, right? Uh, Let me just tell you, Eric, it sounds childish. Drill, baby, drill, when we're drilling as much as we can right now. But again, facts mean nothing to the willfully ignorant, right? Bridge MCP says, Lee, free speech is not yelling fire in a theater. Exactly. 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 All right, let's see. Michael Renner says, free speech has always had a few limiters. Can't lie in court, perjury. Can't defame others, slander, libel. Can't cause dangerous conditions that would result in injury or death. Yelling fire in a theater. Can't incite a riot or an insurrection until Trump. Lastly, getting the big money corruption out of politics is the sort of free speech that needs to be curtailed, or our democracy will fail into a plutocracy. Man, you know what? Michael, did you write that yourself? That was beautiful. Michael, that was beautiful. Tag that for me, Michael. Send me that in a mail. I can do something with that. I love the way you expressed that. I hope you wrote that yourself. All right, Bridge MCP says the author behind Project 2025 was nominated to FCC chair. Talk about free speech. Talk about what KPFT. Now KPFT has got to be monitored. Oh my God. So my on-air news media may actually get a little bit of a little bit of a attenuation. Okay, Yvette, I missed you yesterday. I probably missed the line where you checked in. Sorry for that, sis. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got here? Michael then says, yes, those are my words. They are so very well put. There's one minor change that I'm going to put in it, but I'm going to tag you for it, brother. I love the way you expressed it. You expanded on what Bridge MCP pointed out in her note before you. Steigen Bergen Greek says, a progressive, I think we need, as progressives, I think we need to figure out the cognitive dissonance between what the people say they want and their vote. It is there where we will find a path to victory. You nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. And I tell you what, listen to what we're going to point out from Anand Hiradas. I'm going to put that up, but let me put a piece to the screen first. Para ver dónde está la señora Bridge. We're going to put Bridge's thing on the screen. And her says as follows. Let me get that down. Bridge has, of course, Bridge gave me a long thing. Let's go there. Thanks, Joe. Oil production, daily barrels. United States, 19,377,358. The closest person to the US is Saudi Arabia, which is 11 million barrels a day. Then Russia, 11 million barrels a day. Then Canada, 5 million barrels a day. So yeah, for all you folks who don't understand, even though we don't agree with it, that's exactly what Joe Biden did. He drilled baby drill. We didn't like it, but that's what he did. That's what you guys wanted. So we drill baby drill more so than even the current thug in chief did. We drilled under Biden more than the thug in chief, more than the defined rapist by a judge. We drilled more. So when you say drill, baby, drill, or when Donald Trump say drill, baby, drill, he's talking hogwash. He came and he brought a big spread about infrastructure. Again, he was talking hogwash because it is Biden who did it. He's trying to rebrand it into something he is doing. When he talks about bringing water from Northern California to Southern California and the canals are already there, he's lying to you. Again, he's lying to you. Willful ignorance really makes a lot of people make bad decisions. Anyway, let's go ahead and Bree. This is one for you, Joe. I think Joe, was it Joe who said it? Is Joe in the house, or was that Bergen Creek? Let me see who said that. That was Bergen Creek, Burger Creek, who said about progressives. I don't see Joe in the room yet. So let's go ahead and play this video, and then we'll take it on the other side, my dear brothers and sisters. I want you to listen to what Anand Hiradas had to say here, because I think he's on to something. Many of us look at Trump's win. Yes, he only got 49 point something percent of the vote, which means still 50% of the people who voted weren't supporters of Trump. And even some of the people who supported Trump, we know that a large percentage of those simply supported him because they always vote, but they would not support a woman. They would not support a person of color. So he was their default vote. So we know Trump doesn't even have 49% of the people who actually voted for him, let alone even a much smaller percent of the potential voting population. What I mean by that is this: 80 something million people didn't vote. Okay. Now I want you to listen to Anan Hiradas, and then I have a special message that I think we need to hear. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Anand, you've written an article talking about the inauguration of us, bringing up the great point that for quite some time there has been this belief that Donald Trump was an outlier. He was a mistake of history. It was a glitch, sort of a glitch in American democracy. But as you write for the Ink, you say, no, this is not a glitch. This is us, or at least 49.9% of us. And so talk about that, and also talk about what that means for Democrats and for others casting a very wary eye on this administration.
I think we've all been in these conversations going back a decade now, which sounds painful to say, but there was this fantasy that this is some kind of infection of the body politic, or this is some kind of alien invader. The Russia thing was sort of that fantasy of maybe he's a plant from elsewhere. Maybe he's being manipulated in through compromat, or all these things. And if you have that view, then you're looking for these saviors. Maybe someone can kind of expunge this from us. Maybe Bob Mueller will do it. Maybe Merrick Garland will do it. Maybe Jack Smith will do it. Maybe this criminal case will do it. And there's been a lot of waiting for saviors. And as I was reflecting on what today means, it seems to me at this point, this is, as you said, this is us. This is a part of us. And I don't just mean that it's 49% of our people. I don't think this is a sectional conflict. I think this is a intracellular conflict. I think these are very deep parts of what America is, who all of us are, that have emerged in this man. I think there is this is the country of get rich quick schemes, and of salesmen. It's the country that has a love affair with oligarchs, despite of all the reasons we shouldn't. It's a country in which we've allowed the truth to be optional. It's a country in which we've allowed a lot of our institutions to rot. It's a country in which we love reality TV, even though it's not real. And this man who's taking office for the second time today is a part of us. And I described in the piece the idea that this is an autoimmune condition, not an infection. If it's an autoimmune condition, it's a part of us at war with another part of us. And I think what's going to be really important in these 4 years is for the part of us that is not him, that is better, that is nobler, that believes in the truth, that believes in institutions, to rise up and be healthier. This is not about expunging one man. This is about making healthy a society that allowed for this day to be possible.
Now, he is on to something. He said this is not an infection. This is a autoimmune disease. And he's right. Because look, there are, of the people who voted, there are absolutely just under 50% that could not stomach having a traitor, having a thug, having a thief, having a convicted felon, having a woman abuser as their president. There, again, of the people who voted, but of the totality of the vote, that only is equivalent to 30 or 30 something percent of the population who voted for Kamala by saying, I simply cannot have Donald Trump, that felon, as our president. And for those who say, well, yeah, of that popular vote, still 49.8% said they wanted Trump. But we know they didn't really. But Anand makes a very important point. If those people who stayed home felt that they were in such a vulnerable position, that this was existential, that this was dangerous, that having somebody that we know is a rich guy, we know that it's all out for the rich, we know that it's there for the oligarch. If people felt that intrinsically, existentially, then they would have come out to vote against Trump. Not necessarily for Kamala Harris, but against Trump en masse. But as it turns out, many Americans really felt, well, so we get the oligarch in power. Let's see what happens. Who cares? If one wins, it's okay. If the other wins, it's okay. That is a danger. And that is what progressives have to work against. That is what progressives have to instill in people's mind, that no, you matter, and no, the capitalist structure of which oligarchs dominate isn't a sustainable structure, and it's not good for you or your family, and you will never be without an invite to be able to join that club. It is not there for you. The materialism is not there. The false exceptionalism is not there. So what Anand had to say is potent, and it's something that we as a society have to think about. It is something that we better extricate out of our bodies. That individualistic, robust individualism that we talk about that never really existed. Even those people in power right now, the wealthy, it's not rugged individualism that got them there. It's a parasitic behavior, sucking on your blood, making their wealth off of your backs. So what they sell as rugged individualism, what they make us believe is something we should strive for, is something they could have never attained without their behavior of taking advantage of us all.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to...
Exactly right. Exactly right. So as it turns out, we have, and when I say we, I'm not talking about us as an individual. I'm talking about us as a society. There is too much Trump in us. And if you listen to us talk, when Trump talked about invading or taking back the canal, the way you heard many Americans speak, even those that don't believe that we should take the canal, right? You heard a certain level of entitlement that we can do as it please, or we have this air about us. It is that Trumpian way of being. I mean, Trump is Trump on steroids, of course, but I mean, it is that belief that somehow we have that inalienable right to do anything to all others. And we played as microaggressions here in the United States among different groups, but my God, we really play it big in foreign countries. And that is what so many of us don't quite get. But yeah, again, we have to look in the mirror. The second topic that I want to talk about today, and I don't know if I had it queued. I better get it queued. Let me go ahead and put it on the screen, and then I'll cue it. It is something that our sister Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had to say, and it's this story. AOC, remember what you said, Stagen, Bergen, Greek, and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain, and welcome aboard Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Thank you for being here. He said, shout out to the principal of the Hamline Elementary School in Chicago, who did not let ICE perform a raid on their local school. Chicago PD was kept in the dark about the raid, and we know that was on purpose. What in the actual F were they going to do with the elementary age children that they plan to detain? Don't you dare tell me they're going after the worst of the worst. They just tried to detain babies. What they wanted to do is show how evil they could be. there's a certain amount of pain that these, there's this study. Help me out, Michael Rudden. I know you know what study I'm talking about, where they simulate having a person telling a person to apply pain to another person. It's an experiment to see how damaging. Let me take this off the screen for a minute. It's an experiment that people do that they take pleasure in watching other people get hurt. The Milgram experiment. Thank you, man. The Milgram experiment. What they do is the other person isn't feeling pain. They're just making believe that they feel pain. And what they do is they tell you, turn the power up, turn the power up, turn the power up. And the person is screaming, I feel the pain. And there's some pleasure that some people get in watching other people suffer. That is what's happening right now in this MAGA movement. They want to see those undocumented workers harmed. They want to see them paining. They want to see them hurting. Nothing Christian about it, nothing spiritual about it. But this is what their evangelical leaders are telling them is the thing to do. It is shameful, it is disgusting, it is inhumane, and it is something that should be never a part of the United States of America. Anyway, AOC is now saying AOC Democrats must be brawlers for the working class to counter Trumpism. As Democratic lawmakers grapple with the reality of President Donald Trump's second term this week, U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Thursday urged the party to see the president's devotion to billionaires and corporations after he campaigned as a champion for the forgotten. And all right, let me go to brother Ray Brackens. I'll finish that in a minute, but you guys come first. The phone comes first. Brother Brackens, talk to me. El Señor Ray.
Oh, I wanted to actually hear the article. I didn't mean to jump in at that time. You could finish that, and then I'll opine afterwards.
Okay, let me go ahead and continue the article. As Democratic lawmakers grapple with the reality of President Donald Trump's second term this week, U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Thursday urged the party to see the president's devotion to billionaires and corporations after he campaigned as a champion for the forgotten working class as an opportunity to make clear that Democrats, not Republicans, will fight for the interests of everyday people. First, the New York Democratic Congresswoman said in an interview with Jon Stewart on his podcast, The Weekly Show, the party must abandon its own allegiance to the billionaire class. Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely so. We have to be a party of the people, and the billionaire class are an antithesis to it. Trump is close ties with the tech billionaires like Tesla founder Elon Musk. His plans to extend the 2017 tax cuts that primarily benefited the wealthy and his promises of deregulation to oil executives ahead of the election all highlights ways that we can fight back, said Ocasio-Cortez. One of the things that we need to do is to talk to the people directly. I agree, said the Congresswoman. That's what we are doing here. There needs to be Democrats who walk the walk and talk the talk. There is an insane amount of hypocrisy, and the hypocrisy is what gets exploited by Republicans. Ocasio-Cortez pointed to the example of insider trading by lawmakers with members of Congress who received briefings on the defense industry, pharmaceuticals, and other businesses able to use information not available to the public to predict future stock prices. As Common Dreams reported in December, dozens of members of Congress bought and sold $113 million worth of share in Pentagon contractors last year, with 3 Democrats, Gottheimer, Nancy Pelosi, Susan Delbin, and others trading the most. And, Nancy says, we are capitalists. No, Nancy, that's not something for a Democrat to say, because we know, as you heard from Richard Wolff, Dr. Richard Wolff, both in the piece I did yesterday and in the piece I'm going to do Monday, that capitalism isn't there for the working class at all. Pelosi, the former House Speaker, is among the lawmakers who have vehemently defended stock trading by lawmakers, while Ocasio-Cortez has frequently spoken out against the practice. People think that everyday people are stupid, Ocasio-Cortez told Stewart. Do you really think that people don't see this SHIT? And then we're supposed to act like money only corrupts Republicans? Give me an effing break. Trump won the support of working class people across the country, increasing his support among voters who earned less than $100,000 per year, despite the fact, as Ocasio Cortez said, that he has a Supreme Court that guts labor rights, that Republicans are overwhelmingly opposed to raising a minimum wage, that they are really gutting the civil rights around working people and organizing. Wealthier voters shifted votes towards the Democratic Party in the election, supporting Democratic candidates for Vice President Kamala Harris. To respond to Trump's victory, Ocasio said, we need to be a party of brawlers for the working class. We've been chasing this affluent group and making all these little concessions and hoping that working people don't notice, she added. The Congresswoman who campaigned for a top House Oversight Committee seat in recent weeks but lost to a more senior Democrat has been leading proponent of the Green New Deal, which would fight the climate emergency while creating millions of green energy jobs that actually pay a lot. You guys can finish reading the article, but it makes a lot of sense what Ocasio is saying. It is time for Democrats to abandon the billionaire class because they are the offensive. They are the class that most corrupts the economic system. And what is it that they need to do? They need to walk the streets. I want to start seeing Democrats going to Brenham, Texas, Yoakum, Texas, Sealy, Texas. I want them to go into every redneck area in this country. I want them to go into every ghetto in this country. I want them to go into Appalachia. I want them to, even if people are throwing stones at them, I want the Democrats to be out there in the rural areas doing what they need to do, letting these people know that they've been had. Show some interest, show some respect, show that. I'm not talking about people like Brother Eric here in the house or Lee Grant. These are guys that are set in their ways. They're sufficient. They are well off, so they can choose. They can choose to be Republicans. They can choose to be Republicans and not bother about the reality of what happens, okay? What I'm saying is let's go to where the people have needs. I want to go into those you know what I want if what I was going to do at one point was to get a GoFundMe going to buy the Politics Done Right mobile with satellite stuff on it, and I was going to drive around the entire country. This was before COVID. I had all these ideas. Drive around the entire country and just have these pop-ups and talk to people. Pop-ups and talk to people, right? And just get people into talking. And the reason I wanted to do that is because the mainstream media is not getting to people and the mainstream media is fooling people. I listen to those folks who call my show in the mornings, and a lot of the right wingers who call, there is a sense, and I say this with respect, but there's a sense of pity that I have. There's one particular caller that is a staunch supporter of Donald Trump. Donald Trump wouldn't even have him to shine his shoes. This guy that calls in. That guy wouldn't even be apt to shine Donald Trump's shoes. And this guy is all in. I am all in for this guy. But he's all in. I forgot that I had you on the line, my brother Ray. Come on in.
Nah, I was feeling the energy, and I listened to that 6 o'clock show. It's just so much going on. I just don't have much to give. I just would probably come on there and cuss people out, and I'm trying to stay within the seat. I'm trying to stay within the FCC rules, so I just bite my tongue on that and roll over after the show is over. But it's very entertaining, especially that one guy. I think you always shut him down, and he's like, "You don't ever give me a chance to talk." Da, 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 da. Yeah, well, if you would say something that makes sense, maybe you might get a chance to talk. But until then, you don't get to talk. And I appreciate you, Egberto. Every time you shut him down, I appreciate you. I clap in my head. So keep up the good work, because he don't get a platform.
I try to do it respectfully, because what you just said is what's important, Ray. we're not going to use the platform for somebody to promote lies. So what I do is interrupt
No.
them every time they give a lie, because that lie is something a lot of the right wingers believe. So when he brings the lie in as a right winger, I get the opportunity to refute it. But continue, my brother.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, I saw that interview with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I
Hmm.
actually have I had the pleasure of speaking with a friend of mine from New York. Now, contrary to popular belief, she is a popular politician amongst those who, like you and I, are woke. But this particular gentleman that I know is part of a men's group that is, somewhat apolitical. But whenever I get a chance, I try to talk to people I know about the issues. And when I asked him about Trump, he was like, "I don't vote for president anyway because it don't matter. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna hustle my way through it." And then I said, "Well, how do you feel about Ocasio Cortez?" "I don't care about her either. All of them could go, do this and that." I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, you know, there are good politicians. And the thing about it, my other buddy who was in the middle, he said, "You know what? There's a population of people, who do share a conservative mentality when they live in areas." Now we have the pleasure of having people like Sister Breeze from New York who's woke like us. But then there's a lot of people who are conservative like Stephen A. Smith, and they're like, "I don't believe in any of the parties because they both corrupt." And just to the point of what Ocasio-Cortez said, the Democrats need to stop pretending like they really. So the Democrats have a great platform. They talk a good game in terms of what they believe in: higher minimum wage, workers' rights, equity and inclusion. Those are all great values to fight for. But when it comes to who they're aligning their pockets with, people like Pelosi is using the financial system to their gain because she has stock. But how many regular average American have stocks to protect? Not many. That's why I'm glad that Hakeem Jeffries is now in her position, and I hope when given the opportunity, he's already stated what Trump's agenda is. He calls it the agenda against America. I love it. They need to keep on pushing that because that's what it is. All of this stuff they're doing, to take down um, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's just ridiculous that, we let this happen. And like you said, there's a little bit of Trump in all of us. There's a little bit of Trump in me. But you know what? What we used to be a country that would be the better part. We would appeal to the better part of us. The people that voted would appeal to the better part of us. They would vote for someone like Obama, somebody with merit. Okay, we talk about we want merit. Obama was a college graduate. He was the freaking president of his law review at Harvard. He was part of the elite group. You know, but that was too snooty. See, some people, and I'm gonna say it on your show. Some people just didn't want to see a Negro in power, and that really triggered them. And that's why we are where we are now. Because people like the people that listen to your 6 o'clock show, they got triggered when they saw a Negro in power, and they wanted to do everything that they could to beat that. And they never got the taste of seeing a black man in power, a bad taste out of their mouth. And Trump was that bleach, that
You
white
know,
man,
you know what is so
that
sad though? You know what is so sad, Ray? That the replacement for an Obama would have been a Trump, somebody that you know what. Uh, if first of all, I think race is a stupid thing. I don't believe in race or
right,
anything like.
before you go
Yeah, go ahead.
into that, I just a comment. Shut up, Eric, because you don't know what you're talking about. Anybody could buy some stock. There you go with your. You know what? Carry
That's a
on,
privilege.
Egberto.
That was a privileged statement. Eric hasn't a clue of how most Americans, or how 80% of Americans couldn't possibly do it. But that's okay. Let me tell you this, Ray. This is important. I don't believe in race or anything, right? But if you are so racist that you believe people of color don't have the competency to do a job, or that they are beneath based on education, etc. I mean, it's a stupid statement, but that's how some racists believe. To have that person be replaced by an incompetent, failed billionaire like Donald Trump, it actually, to me, it demeans what you are trying to uplift. If what you're trying to uplift is white men, the representation that Donald Trump gives is shows such a bad, it puts everything that people think about a privileged society and how it privileged some, it puts a stamp on it by having somebody like Donald Trump become president. Because I mean, if it were a competent white guy, if it were my brother Michael Rudnin becoming president, you're white, right, Rudnin? I think you are. Or let's say even, let's put it on Patrick too. I told Patrick he needs to get into politics because Patrick really understands politics very well. You would say, oh, good. But my God, Donald Trump? Come on. But anyway, I got another video. Anything else you have to say, my brother?
Yeah, I got a note I wanted to leave on. So what I take from the first few days of Trump is Project 2025 is definitely underway with the erasure of the DEI language in our laws. And basically, we're going to see Jim Crow 2.0 for real this time.
Yeah.
And I'm not wishing this, but hopefully those maniacs that were released and pardoned by Trump from Jan 6 don't get bold enough to go out and start committing mass shootings and whatnot.
No, they will. Ray, I'm waiting for it. They will be out there committing crimes because these guys are thugs. They will be out there committing crimes. So we just have to wait, and we're going to enumerate each one of them and tag Trump. So let's just wait. It's going to be there. But hey, I don't have much time, and I got to go play the video. Thank you, brother.
One final thing.
Yes.
All right. No problem.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. The Elon versus Trump, the Elon versus Bannon feud, the best we could think
Yes.
of. That's kind of like Godzilla versus King Kong, or.
Hey, Ray, stop right there. That's what we're playing right now, Ray. Stop right there. We got you, my brother. We got you. Get ready, and here it goes. It's about to get started. Here we go. The MAGA fight is on. We have the nationalists versus the globalists, and all working together, or they were supposed to be working together. It's not happening. Bannon hates whom again? Elon Musk, and they're fighting. I want you to listen to this piece here, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Don't look now, but there is new trouble in MAGA paradise between the two biggest, most powerful, best funded factions of the actual MAGA political movement. As a student of this movement, I can explain, and there's lots of coverage that plays out how the initial spark, the thing that brought this into public, was a disagreement over the issue of work permits called H-1B visas. They allow companies in the United States to hire foreign-born talent for specialized roles on a short-term basis. Steve Bannon's side and coalition is in one corner. Elon Musk's is pitted against them on the other side. It's a feud that boiled over on social media, one that escalated again over the weekend in the pages of none other than an Italian newspaper, of course. Steve Bannon attacking Elon Musk, suggesting this, quote, "He will not have full access to the White House. He will be like any other person." Quote, "He is a truly evil guy." This is Bannon saying this about Elon Musk. Quote, "A very bad guy. I made it my personal thing to take this guy down," end quote. Musk also said, Steve Bannon also said about Musk that he should, quote, go back to South Africa. Quote, why do we have South Africans, the most racist people on earth, white South Africans? We have them making any comments at all on what goes on in the United States. Take me inside why Steve Bannon hates Elon Musk so much, and then talk a little bit about Musk's efforts to retaliate and take some of Bannon's allies off of the platform Musk runs, X.
Yeah, some of this goes back a long way. These guys were going at each other, I think, back in 2018. I think the interesting thing about this, Nicole, because you have to be judicious in discussing the MAGA infighting, because these are a lot of children and, having a food fight in a cafeteria at some level. And, Bannon's mad at so-and-so and so-and-so's mad at Bannon. It's kind of like, who cares at some point? But this one actually does matter because it is a fundamental rupture in the coalition. Like, for the coalition to survive, they need the nationalist Steve Bannon wing, which is I would call OG MAGA, the anti-immigrant, anti-trade, America first, if you will. That's sort of the Bannon lane, and then you have Musk, who is really a globalist at his core, but has kind of brought in these tech bros that were, radicalized by COVID or whatever. They might be quote unquote anti-woke, but they're not like meaningfully MAGA across all these policy issues. And Musk, in his case in particular, like does business in China and is on the take from China, which again is fundamentally at odds with kind of the America First crowd that does not believe that the U.S. should be doing friendly business with China, doing friendly business with the world, that we should be decoupling from China. So here we have this fundamental fissure with kind of the Musk world, and now he's got Vivek with him and some other people and Bannon, and they are going to, this fight is not just about personalities. Like, as policy gets implemented in the next Trump administration, this will be a what to the wall, all out to the wall fight between the Bannon world that does not want, the kind of corporate oligarchs to have power, and then the corporate oligarchs who do want to wield power over Trump. And it's also one where like either side could really win, because while Trump might instinctively be more with the Bannon, he loves the attention of the rich guys. So he might very well sell out his MAGA base and go with the oligarchs. And I think that could potentially cause him some political problems.
He can't take criticism. One of his weaknesses is that he needs to be loved. He needs the masses to love him. You can tell he's on the stage. He needs that glory. He must have adoration. You can tell that. It lights him up. So then when the platform, when his apparatus turns against him, and particularly people that cheered him, saying, hey, we hate what you're doing to this country. We know now that you're lying to us, bald-faced lie. These are not higher skilled people. When they turn, all of a sudden he has to go to what is the Chinese credit score? This is to have a digital ghetto and to only have raised up what praises him. That is like the little boy's mentality. If I want to be the superhero, I want to put the cape on and kind of skip around.
He's calling him a hypocrite. That's the accusation. And what, you think that could stick?
Perhaps. I mean, in some ways, it's an echo of those acolytes around Hitler who called the latecomers Septemberlings. Yeah. You're really not an ideologue. You're just really transactional. And then on the other side of it, right, the Musks and the Ramaswamis and all these actually reveal the grifting side of Trumpism, right? And this is a kind of nationalist movement. This is our country. And then there's the other side of it. He's not really a man. He called him a little boy. Right. He's not a manly man in some way.
I think there's something in here that's, effeminate too, right? When he's prancing around the stage.
Exactly. And then that line, he's the most racist of all. He's a racist South African. I was like, oh my God, isn't that the irony of all ironies?
I had my brain in it.
Exactly. So you have, again, what we talk, this collision of populist, right-wing populism, and the corporatist. And they're all in MAGA world. And the question is, that's not an issue of personality. Those are ideological currents that have been at the heart of this movement from the beginning.
If Bannon and his minions decide they're not going to turn out in the midterms for a party that sells out to Elon Musk or sells out to H-1B immigrants, that could have a meaningful negative impact on MAGA movement. Or on the flip side, if Elon says, I'm tired of taking this BS, I'm going to take my huge megaphone on X and start trashing MAGA Americans as the R slur, as he did recently, that fissure could get people to stay home. And I think that from the Democrat side of things, whether any of these people are gettable, I think maybe so. This might be a really hard to hear triggering thing for some Democrats, but maybe there's just like one shred of a lesson from Bannon's anti-Musk message, right? Maybe the Democrats could kind of pick up this populist mantle of going after the big tech oligarchs, saying they don't actually care about your interests. They only care about themselves. Like there might be a little bit of a potential shared message there that could be resonant for the Democrats.
Trump won by 237,000 votes across 7 states. I mean, every event, every fissure, to use your word, Tim, matters. And this one feels like a big one that isn't going away anytime soon.
First of all, I am sorry, Mr. Bannon. I think you're losing the battle, because it turns out that Elon Musk is in the White House. And guess who's not? You, Mr. Bannon. So the oligarchs, the guys with the billions, as usual in America, the parasites, they are the ones that get the spoils. And the folks that are closest to the people, you, my dear Bannon, you are much closer to the MAGA base than Elon Musk is. You are there with the MAGA base. In fact, as you were ripping off the MAGA base and pretty much did time for this, you were with the base. Elon Musk, well, he's there for the government contracts. Well, I tell you what, folks, I am making a little bit of fun here, but the reality is that fight within the MAGA base proves one thing, and that is that coalition is unsustainable. You cannot keep oligarchs along with the leadership of the masses as one entity. And by the way, that goes as well on the left side. We've had the moderate Democrats for a very long time actually trying to do just that. And if you want to know what is the outcome of this, it's losing. So let's be clear here. What you see happening right now on the MAGA side has already happened on the side of the Democrats.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news.
Yes, it has already happened on the side of the Democrats, and it has happened many times over and over again. Okay, Michael Rudden wants me to read something that's important. Here it goes. Republicans have no good answer for people struggling. Attacks on immigrants and LGBTQ people will not help anything, only until recognize that the robber barons are the real problem. Forbes, a 2023 survey conducted by payroll.org, highlighted that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, a 6% increase from the previous year. In other words, more than 3/4 of Americans struggle to save or invest after paying for their monthly expenses. Similarly, a 2023 Forbes Advisor survey revealed that nearly 70% of respondents either identified as living paycheck to paycheck, 40%, or even more concerned reported that their income doesn't even cover their standard expenses, 29%. Folks, this is real. All right, Egberto, to both Trump and the Red Hats, loyalty is the only important virtue. When Steve Bannon went against the money, the Red Hats started calling him a rhino. It's amazing, right? That indoctrination that so many are a part of. It's a shame. Anyway, we are at 58, which means it's time for me to do my ask. Folks, please support the program by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter and if you become a paid, oops, let me fix this here. There we go. If you become a paid subscriber of our newsletter, there's a lot of perks for you. One, you get to read all 5 of my books on the Substack platform. Not only do you get to read all of my books, but you also get a chance to read all of my subsequent books that will be coming out. I don't know when. I work on them when I can, but I've been so busy I've put some of them on the back burner, but every new book that comes out, you will have access to it from being a paid subscriber of our newsletter. And how can you become a paid subscriber of our newsletter? Go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Or if you are on the app, and by the way, those of you that are on the app, and we have a whole bunch of folks listening on the app right now, on the Substack app, remember that you can go ahead and sign up either from the app or go to egberto.substack.com, egberto.substack.com. And by the way, when we're still working on formats for the Substack application. We're working with technical support to see if there's another way so that when we're dealing with the app, we can put the whole thing in the middle. But we'll work on that, and we'll continue to work on that till we have some sort of a solution. So please, folks, become a paid subscriber. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It helps us pay the bills, and we need to we need to get some part-time help for me, but I can't do that until I'm able to pay someone to do that. So please support the program best you can. Before I go, let me just read a few things real quickly from you all. Paul Fleming says, U.S. companies that scaled back workplace diversity efforts to avoid scrutiny from the Trump administration may be exposing themselves to more discrimination lawsuits by workers. True. Being a freelance writer is from Joe. Being a freelance writer is my heart, but so stressful. My creativity is my paycheck, and yet the society is very fickle on the type of creativity they choose. I'm not fickle, so I hear you, girl. I hear you. Paul Fleming says, disturbing move that may fly under the radar. Trump removes members of the PCLO board that oversees privacy in the intelligence community, leaving it inoperable, at least for now. This guy is a dangerous person, but what can I say? That's who we have running the show for now. But anyway, I got to get out of here, folks. Again, please become a paid subscriber by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter and help us continue to tell the truth. Help us continue to bring you the show. Remember, this is not all that we do. We have 2 shows every day, books, articles, blogs, everything to move the progressive message forward. It's a full 16-hour a day, 7-day-a-week job. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.